Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again. I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're heading back to Shudder to review Slasher, Season 5, titled Ripper. Guess what it's about? All right, let me introduce the crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. Ready to rip.
I like it. I like it.
It was too easy. It was too easy.
It was hanging right there. All right. Yeah. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. How you doing?
I'm fabulous.
Fabulous.
Yes, you are.
That's it. Oh, no. Nope. I'm not trying again. I'm never trying again.
Never.
Ever. I'm done.
I don't believe you.
You shouldn't.
Until next week. All right. Also joining us this week is award-winning filmmaker
Christopher G. Mohr.
I hope all of you are doing well. I hope there's no murder during this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be like one of the characters on this show. But anyway.
I missed that.
You missed it. All right. What we're going to do is we are going to, the show debuted last week as we're recording this with 2 episodes. The 3rd episode comes out this week. We're going to be talking primarily about the 1st episode and the overall tone of a slasher. And what we're going to do is give you our first impressions. We're going to talk about it. We're going to steer clear as much as we can from spoilers and plot things, but we got to talk about some of the characters and things, that, especially the gore that happens. It's a nice gory show. Then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. And this is going to be a blast. Let's take a look at the card first and get things going. Slasher Ripper 2023 on Shudder. The 3rd episode debuts on April 13th. The first 2 are already out. The synopsis is as follows. Bear with me, if you will. It's long. Ripper takes the franchise back in time to the late 19th century and follows Basil Garvey, McCormack, a charismatic tycoon whose success is only rivaled by his ruthlessness as he oversees a city on the cusp of a new century and social upheaval that will see its streets run red with blood. There's a killer stalking the mean streets, but instead of targeting the poor and the downtrodden, like Jack the Ripper, the widow is meeting. Okay, there's a word there. Out justice against the rich and powerful. The only person standing in the way of the killer is a new promoted detective, Kenneth Rijkers. I'm going to say it's Rijkers, whose ironclad belief in justice may wind up being yet another victim of the widow.
Yeah.
Directed by Adam McDonald, at least the 1st episode, is written by Ian Carpenter and Aaron Martin. The cast includes Eric McCormack, some of you might recognize that name.
Yay.
Brandon Oakes, yes. Gabriel Darku.
Yeah.
Daniel Cash, Joe Vanicola, Christopher Jacot, or Jaco.
Jaco, yeah.
Yeah, I would say Jaco. And Salvador Antonio. It might even be Salvador. I don't know. All right.
That wasn't bad.
Me and names. I'm trying to improve. Have I been improving?
Yes, you have.
Christopher shaking it. No.
No.
All right.
Up and down.
There's no way to know.
Every show's different.
There's no way to know because we don't know how they're supposed to be pronounced. So.
It's always a mystery, just like this show.
I could do my job and actually research it, but...
But sometimes you're still not going to know because people pronounce their names differently. That's just the thing.
I prefer your Russian roulette method.
I just kind of wing. Well, and even when it's obvious, I screw it up. I just wing it and sling it. All right, let's get into this and shut up. Let's find out what. Me, I shut up. Not everybody. Let's find out what their first impressions are. Starting off with the one and only Christopher G. Mohr.
This feels like they watched American Horror Story and they're like, let's just add a lot of sexual stuff out of the blue and then also like the period I've never seen an episode of Slasher, so I'm coming into this pretty new. So, and because this is going back in time, and I was already confused from the very beginning. I was like, wait a minute, is this in the UK? Or is this? And I didn't pay attention to realize it was taking place in like Canada or something. But I like elements of this, and I hate elements of this.
Oh, wow,
there's parts of this that everybody's acting on a different acting style. That the detective guy is he's trying to be very noirish, but it's some of the most stilted line reading I've ever heard in a series before. And then you have other people like Eric McCormack and others people that are actually having fun with their characters and playing characters.
Yeah.
But the detective guy almost like he's reading off cue cards, and it's like it takes me out of the show every time he talks, which is kind of sad because I think there's elements that are interesting. It is kind of interesting, kind of, especially how and I won't give too much away, but how they kind of take the whole Jack the Ripper element at the very beginning, kind of flip it on its head is kind of interesting. I love the sort of like the killer character, which I mean, you see the posters like a widow killer character, which I think is interesting. And then you just this time period, you get those kind of elements, that we've seen in other things, so you almost have like a crime procedural, but it's back in that time, almost like was Sleepy Hollow, how Johnny Depp kind of had that CSI character. You have those kind of elements that are very interesting. And it definitely doesn't shy the opening scenes very, very, very gory. So it definitely doesn't shy away from the gore. I think there does seem to be kind of some maybe limitations budget wise on trying to pull off a period piece, which is always very difficult. But my biggest issue has to do with the show doesn't flow when it comes to how different actors are portraying their characters, even just somehow how dialogue goes between feeling very old, like that specific time period, but then contemporary. So it kind of goes in between. So it doesn't seem to flow well. But I am intrigued by it, and it does have some interesting characters. And it has scenes that are really kind of cool. There's like without giving anything away, there's like a magician's act is kind of cool in the middle part of it. But yeah, but I am intrigued by the mystery of it. But my problem is I feel like, man, I've heard that this show kind of sometimes takes actors from previous seasons and puts them in different characters, and maybe that's to the detriment of this, because I think it would be interesting if you just cast people that are right for the parts instead of just throwing people willy-nilly into different parts. But overall, I'm intrigued by it, but there are parts that really irritate me, and it's just how the delivery of lines on the show by certain actors. But it's probably just me.
Well, hold that thought, because toward the end we might follow up on that and see. But right now, let's concentrate on the first episode. Jeff Mohr, sir, what was your first impression of Slasher? Ripper.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And to what you were saying, Christopher, what is his name?
The Detective Riker?
Gabriel Darku. He played a Detective Riker in season 3, but it's can't be the same. It's not the same guy.
Gotcha.
Which it's been a while since I watched that, so I don't really remember. Anyway, I didn't have that problem with him. He was a little flat, but I felt like it was based on his newness in his position and how he's slammed down by everybody belittles him and ignores what he has to say. So. But anyway, I liked it a lot. The kills, you mentioned the opening kill, the final kill is also extremely gruesome. And I liked how there's a lot of characters in this, but I didn't get confused. They introduced them in a way that I could keep track of them. So anyway, I thought there was good suspense. We get this, I don't think it's in the descriptions of it. We're not giving anything away to have this character of the widow. That's the killer. It is a little.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
It is a little confusing at the beginning.
There you go.
That they talk about Jack the Ripper. And,
yeah, that's what confused me. That's what threw me off.
It's because he's, this one street pimp is accusing this guy of being Jack the Ripper because he's known to mutilate prostitutes. Apparently, we find out when scarred people and stuff. So anyway, they're playing that tone. And I actually looked up. There was a guy, a serial killer called Toronto's Jack the Ripper in like 1780, but he poisoned people. So he wasn't a ripper in any way. So, yeah, I enjoyed the characters. Love the magic show. I'll stop.
Love the magic show.
That was good. That guy had a good gravitas to his delivery.
He certainly had a presence. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Crystal, what was your first impression of Slasher?
I loved this show. Like, this is actually my favorite season so far because I do really love, Victorian Gothic type atmospheres. And technically, this is supposed to be Toronto, which is irrelevant to me. I don't really care where it is. I mean, it clearly feels European. It's obvious that's what they're going for. I guess maybe they just, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I love the characters. It seems like they're working a lot of these cool, weird little people in this town. Like you have, your upper class and your lower class, and that's really where we're going to get a lot of our issues. I watched more than the first episode, but I haven't watched the screeners, all the screeners that we received. So I'm not completely caught up. So I wish I was, because I love the magician. He's fabulous. I love him. He's got such beautiful eyes. And I think he has such a nice, he's got such a nice face too. But I do agree with Christopher though. I do feel like the lead detective is very, very stoic and serious. Not that the others aren't, but I do feel like they seem to be having a little bit more fun with it. And I feel like the fun kind of goes with the way it almost feels like freak show type in a way. It's a little over the top. It's a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit. So I do agree with him there. I like the guy. He's fine, whatever, but I do see that in the acting. I think he could maybe come out of his shell a little bit. I love Eric. Oh my gosh. It's so weird to see him as like a bad guy. So that's kind of, no, we're on spoilers. Doesn't matter. But yeah, so that's kind of fun.
To be fair, there are a lot of good guys and bad guys. There's a variety of them. There's more than one good guy and bad guy in this movie, in the show.
Fair.
And some of the good guys aren't as good as they seem.
Yes, for sure. So I don't know how the story is going to play out, but I'm digging it. I'm really enjoying it. So Slasher, I've liked the previous seasons that I've watched. I still think this might be my favorite. Actually, I'm certain this is my favorite. It seems like a higher amount of work went into it. And the female doctor, I
love that character.
Yes, me too. And she was in Supernatural. She was Death in Supernatural.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the deaths. There was a couple, but whatever. Anyway, I think she's been in something else. I really like her. She's got a good character here too.
Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 characters I think really made a big, strong impression. And the killer and the widow itself.
I think the widow is
great presence.
Great.
Yeah.
I was like, that's nice, and I'm glad that they didn't, with the ghosty type figures, they go with white, but they went with the widow, which I dig. Although the white would be nice with the blood. Be kind of pretty. But anyway.
Widow's more imposing. Yeah, but yes. Yeah, I enjoyed this too. Real quick, I just want to say, those who are trying to place the name Eric McCormack, Will and Grace.
Will and Grace, yes.
Just want to throw that out there.
He was in another show where he was like a psychiatrist. Or
Travelers. He was in Travelers. Did you see Travelers?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's in a lot of things,
but
Will and Grace is definitely
that's the one the biggest
what he'll be known as.
He's
a fun actor.
Throw something out too, as Adam McDonald, the director of the first 2 episodes, also directed Backcountry and Pyewacket, which we reviewed.
We did like
wow.
that.
Yeah, okay.
So I had a blast with this. I really like the characters. I like a variety of characters, like some of the adversaries, some of the good guys, if you will. I like our lead. Yeah, he is stoic, but he's the only one that's that way. And I didn't take it as being like he wasn't. I mean, I get what you're saying, Christopher, now that you've said it, but to me, it was just because of his character, and that's why he was that way. And I bought it. But I agree with you. Now that you've said it out loud, thinking back, I'm like, oh yeah. And when we get into the main thing, I have a question for Jeff about that. So I want to bring that back up, Jeff. But there are certain characters that I really, really like. There's the magician is one. The mortician, not a mortician. She's a doctor. She's a
doctor. She was giving that dude surgery. He was alive.
Right. Oh, no, that was a great scene.
She's not just a mortician.
Right.
She is a doctor.
But she's also the person that looks at the dead people. Anyway,
but doctors do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I misspoke. But anyway, I liked her a lot. I like the girl that's from the States, and she's kind of in the wrong class, and I like the street pimp guy and his girlfriend that he has. I also like his opposition and his second in command. Won't get into that too much, but they're awesome. They are awesome. I just really like the characters. I like the tone. I like it. I like the setting. And I was totally thinking it was the UK until I think somebody says Toronto in the show, and eventually I put it together. But the first episode has me won over, and I can't wait to see the rest. Really wanted to get into it. Unfortunately, time did not permit me to do it before we recorded, and I'm eager to sit down, after the next day or so and really get into it. And I've loved the series beforehand, especially once it got. I watched it before when it was elsewhere, but when it got to Shudder and continued there, it's continued to be awesome. And each season's a little different, kind of like American Horror Story, Christopher. Each one's in a different setting. I think I might be with you, Crystal. This might be the best one, at least out of the gate. We'll see. They may run out of characters, but there's plenty of gore. We mentioned a couple scenes, but there's also that the surgery scene's a bit gory, and then there's a flashback that's a bit gory. It does not shy away from blood, and that is welcomed, to be sure, as horror fans as we are.
It ends, like Jeff said, it ends on the most gory moment at the very end. So yeah, it definitely doesn't shy away from that. So I guess that's probably
really well done too.
I don't know. Not to keep harping on that, the guy. I almost feel like he's trying to go for like that noir, like those noir detectives, because he's like,
yeah, they'd be Edgar Allan Poe-ish,
whatever. And because I'm trying to understand what he's going for, and it just, for some reason, he just feels like a sore thumb, compared to everybody else. Everybody seems to be acting in a different movie, and that I don't know, for some reason it just annoys me every time he talks, and I hate feeling like that. Maybe he gets better as it goes along. Maybe he's getting into his stride of his character. So
that's the question I have. That's the question I have for Jeff, because everybody else, confession, Jeff's the only one of us that has watched all three. And I believe you said you watched all three twice.
I did.
He did. So my question is to you, based on what Christopher just said, but you didn't really notice in the first one, so this may not be.
Yeah, I can't really tell you because I didn't think there was a problem in the first one. But, there does become, I think, as I think of a few different scenes, more emotional as we go forward.
Right. There seems to be. I mean, we do get a flashback of him. He's the guy that discovered the body when he was a street patrolman,
like on the beat. Yeah.
And I did feel that when he first saw it. Maybe he's doing it on purpose. Maybe because then when he did find that body, that's a good point that you brought that up. He seemed like really jacked up. Did you notice? He was like, kind of. I mean, okay, I exaggerated. I was doing a bit much there, but like he did for him, he seemed very upset and shaken and shocked, and so maybe he's just developed a harder skin.
Yeah, it's
I
just
don't know.
compared to everybody else.
I agree with you totally.
Yeah, because I mean everybody. Eric McCormack, Brandon Oakes, which is the sidekick of Eric McCormack, I think is great. The pimp, Daisy, all of them have these sort of really interesting characters. And then you get to the magician guy, which is my favorite character in the whole show. At least right now. And as somebody who loves magic, even though I think it's kind of obvious he was hiding in the box, but yeah, but I love his character but then the religious guy outside the front was like, oh, get a better actor for that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but I do love the elements of it. I was kind of confused in the very beginning. I thought, and then and I wish I'd seen something that said Toronto. Well, I think when they mentioned Toronto a little bit later, I was like, oh, it clicked for me. But I kept thinking, well, maybe this is an alternate universe, This is why we have for that time period, we have a very diverse cast and people are acting in total English accents, even though they look like they're walking down a Cockney alley or something.
Yeah, it does feel like it's taking a lot of liberties, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they can.
And which is fine, because the American Horror Story kind of does that a lot. And you have people that do that. So, but I like the way I like the elements, and it's almost like it also has an element where is the widow supernatural, possibly?
I know. I wonder.
Which would be kind of cool. I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be just
not going to be supernatural.
I don't think any of the past seasons have been supernatural.
It could be a reason to do that, because she's just like doing like Jackie Chan stuff. It's like she's like flipping and stuff. But I don't know. But I mean, it has a lot.
Watch episode 2.
There are a lot of suspects.
Well, it almost feels like it feels like a little bit Twin Peaksy too, because there's a lot of really weird characters in this town.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Waiting for the lady with the log to walk by.
Hey, maybe the lady along is the widow.
Yes.
Oh my God, the log lady. I even like speaking of the widow, I like the wife of the first victim. And she because she's supposed to have a connection, thinks that he's in the room with her, and they're looking for clues and stuff. I thought that's when the detective actually shined the best, was when they were in there trying to find.
I like the interaction between the two, because she kept shutting him down. Like, well, if you think you have more metal than me,
yes, I like that a lot.
Okay, I was like, damn, girl, burn.
But tell me something. Something is wrong with her, because they go through her husband's office, and you can look at all the. I mean,
she's never
the shit in his office. Excuse my language, but oh my God, I'd be immediately
40 shades of blood.
Yeah, and not like how we would just put it on display. He was clearly hiding it for reasons.
You just have the dildos.
Yeah,
dildos and ball gags.
And yet she still didn't think there was something wrong with him. Well, are you just dumb?
Well, I guess that was the man's office, and she wasn't able to go in her husband's office.
You mean, Crystal? She should have been going.
Yes. Yes. Yes, because I would have been like, what the hell were you? I'll beat some ass, man.
Well, speaking of beating ass, we do get a spanking scene.
Oh, we do.
I love the Botticelli sisters. They're awesome.
Well, I don't like the young girl as much, but I do like the other two. But I was like, what is?
I know.
I was like,
so
is
weird.
this sister getting something out of spanking her?
Probably. She's probably
her half sister. Might be. What is?
Oh, these sisters are whacked out.
Yeah, this is. Oh, it does.
Just wait.
No, I did like her the one from America, the one that they're the half sister from. Well, there's a whole backstory, but her reaction to the magic act, I really like that. Oh, because she thought it was totally true and was all into it.
And how Garvey was getting off on her fear.
Yeah.
The Eric McCormack character is really getting off on her fear. Not only just the,
he likes power.
pandering
He likes
to her,
power.
but yes,
he likes control.
Yes.
That's his whole thing. Like that dude thrive. I mean, he's a very easy character to see, which could make him the easiest to bring down because his whole being is about power.
Well,
and he dumps her sister like.
Well, we do have to realize this is a mystery show, so sometimes the least likely person might be the widow. So it might be that girl from Boston.
She might be the widow.
She might be the widow.
What if she
shows
up? That would be awesome.
Everybody's suspect, so doesn't matter.
Well, now they do say. I think it was in this episode where the two sisters say her
mother
was a prostitute. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so maybe
I mean that's to me. It's like, oh, that would be a perfect way to overact. Like, oh my god, I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked at blood.
Anyway, I love those two. I love those two sisters too. They're just hilarious.
I thought it was a mother and daughter. It's two sisters. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like evil I Love Lucy.
I was thinking Cinderella or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Evil
stepsisters.
Yeah, I can see that.
Stepsisters. Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of stories that you read about of women abusing women in this kind of time period and stuff, and controlling them and using fear and pain and religion
spanking.
And all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. I don't think you've. Have we seen Margaret in real life yet, or just the body?
Margaret.
The one that was killed 12 years ago.
Oh, yeah, we did
face.
because she was cut open. Remember when the detective
you saw
found
her face to the side, so you did see.
We saw
so but yeah, that's all you haven't seen her in.
Oh no.
Flashback.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I was like, yeah, she was like gutted.
There were a lot of guts.
Okay, I
too.
see what you're saying.
Like a fish.
Yeah, no.
All right.
No.
Well, we did a good job of not spoiling a lot of things and saying a lot about it. So good job, guys.
Maybe
the killer is
the killer is.
I have no idea. 3 episodes, and I'm like, my idea changes every 10 minutes.
I was gonna say every scene it's like that's the killer. No, that's the killer. I've got like 20 killers. There's only 10 casts. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our score 1 to 5 and pick a favorite scene. I think there's enough favorites. There's plenty of favorite scenes. I'm sure we can all get one. We'll do it in the same order. Christopher G. Mohr, you're up first.
I will give this a 3.5.
Okay.
Oh wow! I like
Good.
that.
I did enjoy this, but I have reservations and issues, and maybe that'll get better as it goes along. As for favorite scene, I gotta do the magic act.
Oh, good.
Like the best.
That's my favorite thing because I thought that actor playing that magician is my new favorite character because he's playing
fabulous.
it to the hilt. Like go.
Oh, and then when he does the little knife, he's like.
Oh, I've never used this saw before. And then he like rolls his eyes and he does an incantation. I was like, damn.
His voice is awesome too. Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's really sexy.
Very Egyptian-ish.
I know. Well, no, because he had like the eyeliner. I was like, man, I didn't mean to start using eyeliner.
Do it.
Sexy.
Guy liner's so hot.
Guy liner. I love it.
I look like the Crow if I did it.
Because a crow.
And that's bad?
Well, but not Crow if his face melted.
What?
Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying.
No.
I just want to be the cool magician guy. As someone that grew up wanting to be a magician.
Me too.
But then when I know the Trek works, it kind of ruins the fantasy of the magic for me.
There you go.
Anyway, go on. Somebody else.
Jeff, what's your score? 1 to 5 in your favorite scene?
I'm giving this a 4.5.
Good.
Wow.
I really like this this episode. So, favorite scene. Well, holy cow! I got to take I forget what his name was. Horatio and Daisy's demise.
Okay.
Oh, spoiler.
That's a little bit of spoilers on that, but yeah.
Oops.
But I like
You
it
can
too.
cut it out.
No, it's
Wait.
The bloody scene at the end.
yes. All right, Crystal. What is
Gosh darn it.
Golly, geez.
So see, this is what I would have called it because I have it written down. The beheading, a pimp with the heart of gold, but still, that would
nice.
give it away too
Still
much
gives it
too.
away.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.25. So I'm close to Jeff.
Nice.
I need to just watch some more. I think I'm gonna like it even more. I really like Victorian stuff like this. So, and I love some of the characters and it's fun. It's not, it's not a heavy watch. It's just fun. It's kind of cool and fun. It's very American Horror Story type, lighthearted gore,
A little bit of dirt.
I wouldn't go lighthearted, I guess.
Little scissor penetrations.
Scissor me timbers.
Ooh.
Okay, so
Start one place and work your
Mounting.
way
How
up.
would you like to be mounted
Shoot.
on a? Oh wait, shoot. Quiet.
wow. Okay, he didn't realize what he was,
Jeff,
where he was doing.
Stopping that even made it worse. I'm just saying. All right. Crystal,
So all
But I
my
didn't spoil
favorite
it.
scenes, like the magician, that was one of my favorites. The magician sawing. I mean, like obviously the beheadings, wonderful. Oh well, I'll just take the opening scene, the murdering Jack.
it was
That's it.
it was
It was nice. Yeah,
It was-
I enjoyed that. I was like, I really liked it, but you kind of forget about it when so much happens in the episode.
right. I wrote down a 4, but it is a solid 4. I mean, it is a healthy 4. I am eager to watch the rest. And I'm hoping I can talk you guys into keeping covering this as we go along.
yeah,
Because I'd like
totally.
to do that. Okay. Everything that you chose were my favorite scenes, but I have one more. And I just love, there was a part about the scene that I didn't really care about it at first, but then one thing happens and it just made my day. And that's when our doctor is doing the liver thing.
Mhm.
And she's cutting into him and everybody's like, ooh, and on. A couple of the people are making jokes. And then, she pulls out this little thing and says, you got to do this first. And then she holds the liver up. And then the little
It was a kidney.
As a kid.
A kidney. Sorry,
Yeah.
kidney.
That's okay.
And then
I just want to specify it.
No, thank you for
So he
correcting.
could live, yeah.
But then he wakes up. Oh my
Yeah.
God, he wakes up and he's like, what's going on?
What's up?
And I love it because she just calmly goes, puts the little
Good
thing on
night.
his face.
What does she say? We have an
He
unexpected
said that like
arrival
I think
or
he's
something.
arrived or something.
Yes,
Something
yes.
I don't. The scene just like woke up all of a sudden, just like he did. It was just, and that made me instantly love that character. She was so cool, calm, and collected. He's just a really cool character.
She dominates the screen.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Mhm.
Especially when like your character, Christopher, that you keep complaining is combined. Opposite hers.
Yeah.
Hey, she's just so strong a character, and a strong an actress and charisma. But everybody for me is each and every one is like, well, that's a suspect. That's a suspect. That's a suspect. And no, the only guy that I didn't think was a suspect was my favorite character. And well,
Oh, I know. I know.
Wow.
I was too.
I was like,
know. Me too.
I like. He just had such. I mean, he's
He's
not.
cute, funny.
And
Mhm.
he had
It was a pimp with a heart of gold.
Yeah. And he would have made a great hero at the end, right?
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
No, but he was heroic. I will say for.
At first, I thought he was that guy from Justified. when he first popped
Oh
up.
no.
Oh no, I didn't think that.
Well, just the way he took those guys on, that was just great. That the whole fight scene, the whole way they were intimidating. Yeah. Really, I really enjoyed that. The whole show impressed me as a whole.
Well, that and I did like that that's what they did back then when they did surgeries. They didn't put gloves on. They just stuck their hands in there.
Yep.
Although I felt like her apron was too methodically bloodied.
She doesn't bother cleaning it either.
Well, I know that, but the way the blood was placed on it just seemed
Oh.
like a production designer put blood on it. I was like,
Yeah.
but it's a TV show, so I'll let it slide. But it just felt a little too. perfectly.
Perfect.
The production
Placed
value
on.
is incredibly strong. The cinematography and everything, the lighting, really
Yeah.
strong, really
Yeah.
strong. Really
I like
helps.
the costumes.
Which is tough
Yep.
for a low budget
Yep.
period piece.
But also
Period
is
pieces are hard to
instrumental
pull
in
off.
capturing the period piece, right? So
Yeah,
without it,
yeah. Because I mean, you had like the look of the look of the prostitutes and the makeup and stuff like that. So
and the ones that have been the victim of Jack, the one that shows up. I like. Well, we won't get. I can keep talking for an hour. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Jeff, Crystal, Christopher, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, it
Thank
was.
you for having us.
always in for a good
You're welcome.
spanking.
Yeah, that you are, sir.
Oh yeah.
All right. With that, let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Get it. Get it.
He just keeps banging, keeps banging. All right, we're out of here.